I haven't seen a video about this on YouTube, so I thought I'd make it. Check this out. 3 months ago, we launched a YouTube-first SEO strategy for our own business. And ever since, we've been growing from basically zero to over 250,000 impressions every single week. And on YouTube, it's a similar story, growing week on week, even when we don't publish. And we haven't only been picking up visits from Google and YouTube. We also have visits from Claude, from ChatGPT, and from Perplexity, with AI tools surfacing our content in their answers. And on the keywords that matter most to us, it looks like this. Now, a lot of people will tell you that SEO is dead, that AI killed it, that zero-click search killed it, and yet there's some data to back that up. For example, Pew Research found that when Google shows an AI summary, users click a result only 8% of the time, and when there's not a summary, it's more like 15%. So immediately, almost half the clicks are gone. But the story that I'm going to tell you is a little bit different. SEO hasn't died, it's just kind of moved, and YouTube is now one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. In this video, I'm going to show you how to level up your game across YouTube, Google search, and AI, all in 3 steps. I'll walk you through our strategy and the data that backs it up, and I even managed to convince our SEO engineer to make an appearance and give some watertight implementation advice. My name's Edward Woods, and in a former life, I scaled 2 websites to well over 1 million visits each. Now I grow YouTube channels with Humble&Brag, and one of my worst kept secrets is this. YouTube and SEO aren't separate disciplines. They work incredibly well together, and the companies who scale them in unison outperform everyone else in their niche. So why don't more businesses do it? Well, most of them are just missing the foundational knowledge that makes it all work. So give me 2 minutes and I'll show you what I mean. So there are 3 main ways that your videos can get views on YouTube. The first is what I call the recommendation engine. In analytics, that shows up typically as browse features. Someone opens YouTube and the algorithm surfaces your video to them, typically on the YouTube homepage, a bit Netflix style. They weren't looking actively for your video, the algorithm brought you to them, based mostly on their watch history. This is where the viral moments happen. A video takes off through browse and suddenly you see thousands of views in a day and a sudden peak, a little bit like this. The second way is the session engine. In analytics, this is called suggested videos. In this case, the user is already watching. They're in the rabbit hole, and YouTube serves them videos that are thematically close to keep them on the platform. So the user isn't starting a new journey, like they are with browse features with the recommendation engine, they're extending one that's already in motion, whether that's through the videos in the sidebar or the suggested videos on the end screen. And the third way is the search engine, and that's the one that we're going to be talking about today. And for me, YouTube search and Google search both sit under the umbrella of the search engine, even though they're separate in YouTube analytics. Why is that? Well, because for the last decade, I found that if you rank well in YouTube search, you're very likely to be found through Google search too. And often this Google search traffic can be one of your most significant and most predictable sources of views. Let me show you what I mean with some real data from a small channel and an established channel. So this is the traffic breakdown for our own long-form content over the past year. You can see browse features and suggested videos. They spike together when a video takes off and fall back when the momentum runs out. The recommendation engine and the session engine reward recency and consistent posting. But if you go quiet, you'll probably see your views peter out. Now look at the search line. It doesn't spike and crash. It's not all about boom and bust. It just grows slowly and reliably. And this quiet line is what we're going to build in 3 steps, with each one stacking on the last. So step 1 is ranking in YouTube search. So most companies think YouTube SEO works pretty much like Google SEO, that you build domain authority, you get backlinks, and you earn your ranking over time. But YouTube actually rewards relevance much more than Google. And relevance comes from one signal more than any other, whether your title contains the exact phrase that the viewer just typed into the search bar. That's basically the whole mechanism. If your title matches the search query, you're immediately more relevant than any video that doesn't, regardless of the channel size, of the view count, or how long you've been posting. Now, of course, your video still needs to deliver on the promise in the title, but this first step of choosing topic and title is critical to growth in YouTube search. And it's why a channel with 500 subs can outrank one with 500,000. Just by being a more relevant result for that specific query. So the question for search shouldn't be, how do I build authority? It should be, which keywords can I claim right now with the channel that I have? And this means you need to do the research, find your keyword, and decide on your title before you make your video, so you know that there's demand before you hit record. Okay, so how do we choose a good keyword and write a good title? Well, a good keyword has 3 things. It has low competition, it has high volume, and what I call platform proof. And there are 2 ways of identifying your keywords as a business. Let me walk you through the process. So firstly, you open up VidIQ and you start with a broad relevant keyword for your industry. You enter the term into the search bar and you review the volume and competition level of those keywords. Anything that's not low is going to be very difficult for a small channel. Secondly, once you've found something that's got a good volume and low competition, copy the phrase and drop it into YouTube itself. This is the platform proof. Review the videos that appear. Are they highly relevant to the term itself? Are they from established channels? Does the content already meet the needs of the viewer? If the answer to any of these questions is a resounding yes, you might want to dig down further. So in this example, how to make money with Claude looks really appealing. It's got high volume, it's a trending topic, supposedly low competition, but when I search it on YouTube, you can see it's already pretty busy. So let's dig further, and here's a term, how to make money with Claude and YouTube, that actually suits us here at Humble&Brag, and appears to have no videos on the topic. So now you've got a keyword of potential, you want to check the growth curves and views per hour of similar videos in the search results. And you can do this for free with the VidIQ Chrome extension. So looking at the growth curve, are the views spiking on release and then plateauing, which suggests that they're coming from browse features and the channel subscribers? Or are they getting consistent views every single day, which suggests the views are coming through search? If it's the second one, you've probably got a good keyword and a good topic on your hands. Alternatively, rather than starting with platform metrics, so what's got demand on YouTube, you can start with your customers' interests and pain points and find terms on VidIQ that are relevant to those. Often these terms will have lower volumes, but they'll also have lower competition and be much more specific to your business, and therefore reach the people that you actually want to reach, your potential customers. Remember, as a business, you're interested in conversion, in what generates revenue, and not just in views. And this is exactly the approach we took when we targeted the keyword YouTube strategist. We knew we wanted to own that term. So now you have everything you need to get your video ranked, but it's the quality of your video which will determine whether it stays ranked. YouTube measures quality through watch time, otherwise known as retention. If viewers click and then leave quickly, the algorithm reads that as a mismatch and pulls the video back down the rankings. So the video, as I said before, has to deliver on what the title promises. Okay, you've got a great video on an in-demand and underserved topic. The final step is the upload, and you want to cover 5 bases to heighten its chance of ranking quickly. You want to give your title a final review, make sure that it's boringly clear what the viewer is going to get. You don't need to ambush the viewer's curiosity here, you just need to recognize their intent. You want to make sure your keywords in the title, make sure it's not too long, and consider adding a short descriptor at the end of it to set expectations. Then you want to write your description with the keyword in the first line and weave adjacent terms naturally into the description. Write for humans, but keep those machines in mind. And while in the description, you want to add your timestamps or your chapters. Make sure that these are descriptive and, if possible, cover adjacent keywords because, as we'll see later, they can also be surfaced as snippets across Google and YouTube search. Then you want to create a thumbnail that spikes curiosity and teases the view and stands out from the crowd. And finally, generate tags for your video. It's true that they're not as important as they used to be, but the more metadata YouTube and Google has, the better, particularly when it's first indexing your video. And yes, before you ask, almost all of these steps can be heavily automated or assisted by AI, either through a Claude project or skill. The goal of step 1 is to build that search baseline you saw earlier, the quiet line underneath the peaks and troughs. It takes a while to get going, but once it does, it's hard to stop. But that baseline is only working on one platform, on YouTube. And the companies that are compounding fastest aren't just settling for one platform. They're also ranking well on Google too. Step 2, turn every video into a Google SEO asset. When Callum and I were at Career Foundry, we did something embarrassingly simple but massively effective. We took a blog post that was already ranking for what is data analytics with strong traffic and a solid position on page 1, and we created and embedded a YouTube video on the same topic directly in the post. In fact, the video was basically just the blog post in video form. Pretty much overnight, the article moved up on page 1, and the video had views from traffic it had never seen before. We hadn't changed a word of either piece of content, we hadn't built a single backlink, we hadn't touched the metadata, we just connected the two assets, and they boosted each other from day one. And that's basically the flywheel, it's as simple as that. And most companies never build it because they treat YouTube as a standalone channel and the blog as a standalone channel, when the magic is really in the mix. But what's actually happening behind the scenes is 3 things at once. Firstly, the embedded video keeps people on the page for longer, which Google reads as a strong satisfaction signal. This is what Google calls internally a good click or a last long click, where the user clicks your result stays on the page and never goes back to search again, which means their question has been answered. A page with an embedded video pulls that off in a way that text almost never does. The second thing that happens is your content surface area expands. The video title, the description, the timestamps, the full transcript all become indexable signals, which means Google can understand and surface your content across queries your article alone would never have ranked for. Just think about that search page for YouTube strategists that I showed you earlier. And thirdly, all of this compounds. Search traffic that finds your blog post, watches the embedded video, which feeds back into YouTube signals for your channel. SEO drives YouTube, YouTube drives SEO, and once the flywheel is turning, each channel makes the other stronger with no extra production. So the process is this. Produce a video, write one or more corresponding blog posts, embed the video near the top of the post with a little teaser text, and link to the post in the video description. That's the full cycle. Now that's where most teams would stop, but there's one small technical step which can make a big difference to visibility. And here I want to bring in Nadia Mohamed. Now Nadia is a technical SEO expert who works specifically on getting brands cited by AI tools. And there's one mistake she sees marketing teams make more than any other.
The very first thing that a marketing team will usually forget is the schema. Before actually getting into the implementation, they should probably ask themselves a question, which is, which role does this video play on the page? Because based on that, there are two different strategies. If the video is actually the main content, just in that case, we will have to add the video object schema. And that's actually what allow Google to index the video. So Google is very strict on the fact that for the video to be indexed, the video object needs to be present and the video needs to be the most important part of the content on the page. If it's not, in that case, one of the mistakes is actually to adding the video object schema also in those situations. While that will create some confusion because we will have two different schema conflicting with each other. If it's a blog post, it will probably be a blog posting schema, which is actually the correct one to use. And then if there is a video that is not the main content on the page and we want to provide further information on the video, we will have to add that as a property to the main schema, which is the blog.
So you can think of schema as a translator between visual content and the algorithmic brains of search engines and AI tools, providing a kind of machine-readable layer of metadata that tells the tools exactly what's on the page and where. And this significantly increases the likelihood of your content being cited. If you're on WordPress, plugins like Rank Math or Yoast can handle this, and if you're on a headless CMS, it's a small component build. Either way, it's 30 minutes of dev or AI time that changes how Google understands your content. So we've got YouTube covered, we've got Google covered, now let's talk about how to get AI covered. So step 3, how to appear in AI-generated answers. So here's how most companies build their content. They pick a topic, what is data analytics, why you need YouTube, our approach to SEO. They write the article, they make the video, they post it, and they hope it ranks. And maybe it'll rank. Maybe it'll rank on Google, maybe it'll even rank on YouTube. But it probably won't get cited by AI tools because AI tools generally don't summarize topics, they answer questions. And that distinction between a topic and a question is often what separates content that shows up in AI reviews from content that doesn't. So you already saw at the top of the video that AI tools are sending real attributable visits and views. To give you a sense of scale on a bigger YouTube channel, here's one of our clients. So here's the traffic over the last year, and you can see the peaks and troughs with browse features. And if you click into external, you can see that growing more steadily over the past 12 months. And if we click into external, you can then see that ChatGPT is actually the second biggest source of all of those external sources. And this basically means that all these AI tools are sending traffic directly to these YouTube videos. So this isn't some future trend, it's already a measurable distribution channel. So the next obvious question, what gets cited, or how do you get cited? Well, there are 3 things to consider. Firstly, your content needs to be authoritative, with genuine expertise rather than just generic overviews. Secondly, the content needs to be specific, directly answering a defined question. And thirdly, the content needs to be well structured and organized into logical sections that an AI can extract on its own. Now, most companies obviously have the authority part internally at least, but often fail to show it externally. And very few are systematic about releasing specific and structured content. As Ed Lawrence explains it in this video, expertise in the age of AI needs to be demonstrated through lived experience and through proof and through pattern interrupts. And one thing he doesn't mention, ideally through original research too. Take this video as an example. I can knit it together because it's how we're building our organic systems at Humble&Brag. I can show you how it works because I can show you the raw data. Similarly, that bad click, good click, last long click info about Google's search algorithm is something that came out of Google's recent antitrust trial, where it was forced to spill the beans on the actual mechanics of its algorithm. And if you can marry this kind of experience and proof and research, you've got a recipe for successful or authoritative content. So we've covered authority, but what about specificity and structure? So there's something about how AI tools actually read content that most people don't know. And I want to bring Nadia back in for this.
The AI tools do not read the content as we do. They don't go paragraph by paragraph, but they are looking for very short chunks of text. So actually dividing the content in not too long sections that contain the answer in the very first paragraphs is super important, because if they don't find the answer straight away, they actually move forward. They're basically looking directly for the answer they want to provide to the user. So that's something that definitely helps them. Having question-based headings helps as well. So basically what we are trying to do is try to mimic the way the AI tools work, so with question and answers, and that's why FAQs work really, really well in that sense. So having them both in the content and as structured data, so with schema, is super important.
So it's basically the inverted pyramid principle from journalism. You answer first and then you expand after. And this is exactly how LLMs pass content too. And that matters beyond just visibility.
Well, the data say that it converts way better, because the users that actually are clicking on the citation, they're already a point in the funnel in which they're ready to buy, because they already did the research throughout the tool. So they are actually prepared to the final step of the journey, and they tend to convert way better. And on top of that, some of the searches are naturally moving towards from the organic search to the AI tools. So that's just the current trend.
So to summarize, the traffic's smaller, it converts better, and there's not that much competition for it yet. Now, you can give your video a helping hand in terms of structure by revisiting your chapters and the question and answer format Nadia mentioned. Where it makes sense, name your chapters as questions. Not introduction or section 2, but how to validate keyword demand on YouTube, or why embedding videos improves Google rankings. Those chapters become independently indexable and can surface in AI answers and Google snippets as standalone results, completely separate from the full video. A chapter titled "What Does a YouTube Strategist Actually Do?" can appear as a direct answer to that exact question in an AI overview, pulling someone into your content at the precise moment they're asking the question your business answers. Finally, and to get a little bit technical, you can go even deeper through watch pages and SeektoAction schema on your website. So watch pages are essentially posts where the video is the primary piece of content, typically presented above the fold and accompanied by a formatted version of the video transcript with headings that mirror the chapter titles. This gives AI tools a textual map of your content, and is one of the ways that LLMs identify you as a primary source and cite you rather than a competitor. And those SeektoAction schema properties I mentioned, they let your website, and not just your YouTube channel, claim those chapter timestamps as rich results in Google search. It's basically the difference between Google surfacing your YouTube URL and Google surfacing your own domain with your specific chapter as the answer. If you're interested in this, it's worth a conversation with your web dev team or Claude if you want to go further than your competitors ever will. So there we have it. 1 video, 3 distribution channels, or 4 depending on how you count it. And that's how the same video, structured properly, can show up in YouTube search, in Google results, and in AI answers. So the 3 steps in summary. So step 1, rank in YouTube search. Match the keyword, earn the relevance signal, lead with the informational content, and build the search baseline that compounds while the recommendation engine peaks and crashes around it. Step 2, turn every video into a Google SEO asset. Write the blog post, embed the video, get the schema right, and let the flywheel run. And step 3, optimize for AI. Structure your content around questions, answer first, then expand, and publish a structured transcript. The traffic's smaller, it converts better, and there's not much competition there yet. So SEO hasn't died, or maybe it did, but it respawned, and now it's everywhere. And to be honest, the companies that work that out first are the ones who will own the next few years of search. So now you know how to get your videos everywhere. The bigger question is how to build the channel underneath it. The positioning, the funnel, the format selection, the measurement framework that turns YouTube into a revenue channel. And that's what I cover in this video right here. I'll see you there.